Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more. Now, we've talked a little bit in one or two of these about how our DNA has been manipulated somewhat and digressed somewhat. And I'm not going to dive into all the grisly details of this because A, it would take quite a long time. There's been a lot of beating up and battering going on. But also we're moving beyond this stage anyway. So we're moving out of what you might call a dark age. And it's about looking forwards to what we can do. So Wendy and I are going to sort of chew the cud a bit about that, aren't we, Wendy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you, Sarah. I love a good news story. I think it's really interesting to know what's gone wrong because it's part of our diagnosis, isn't it? It's part of us understanding why we don't feel right, why we feel disconnected, why, we're not feeling in alignment or sovereign. But then, really, once we've got that, which I think you have explained to us, and we can dip back into that when we need to, once we've got that, we've got the message that it isn't our fault, then I am up for the good news stories. Now, how do we actually go about this ascension process that, you've written a fantastic book, Understanding Ascension, and you've also written this wonderful book here, Building the Light Body.
Yeah, the two sort of go together. The understanding ascension is talking about the big picture. And
Yeah.
then the building the light body is the more personal aspects of how really what is happening as you reactivate the strands of DNA, because your light body changes hugely as you go through the process. And we've talked about how you can do it and the things you need to do, and it's about behaviors and belief systems and not giving your power away, and calling it back to you, and being sovereign and taking responsibility for yourself, and reaching out and helping others rather than just living a very selfish existence. So, I think we've at least given some people a few hints and pointers there. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about what is the ascension process, because this gets and I mean I've been ascending. I mean, I've probably since my late 20s, early 30s, I've been actively involved in ascending and not really sure what I was ascending to or where I was going or what the process was or anything like this. And it was, I came to a realization at one point. I mean, I sort of dove deep into ancient wisdom teachings and things like this, and, ancient Egyptian stuff and Greek stuff and Templar stuff and Hermetic, and I mean there was just so many different streams, but none of it gave me clear answers. But it was the ancient Egyptian stuff and the really ancient Egyptian stuff, because it became very corrupted in the latter days. But the early ancient Egyptian stuff, you could see there was a science to ascension. There was a process. There was a structure to it. It was a very clearly understood process. And it was kind of like, that's it. That's what I want to find out. And I then spent a lot of years digging to no great effect, because none of these other wisdom teachings really held it within it, or they held bits of it, corrupted bits of it. And so it was kind of like a jigsaw puzzle with half its pieces missing.
Gosh,
But it was the first clue to me. There is more to this. It's not just this very nebulous, I'm ascending. What am I ascending to? Oh, I'm becoming an enlightened being. What does that mean? So, there is a very real purpose to it. And actually, to crunch it down to its essentials, it is the reactivation of our full 12-strand template. Most of us are here with 3. By now, I would lay money on the fact that most of us are managing 4 activated strands. Star seeds will be ahead of that. They'll have 6, 7, 8, maybe more strands being activated now. They're the ones who are the way showers, who are moving ahead, going through the process at different levels and opening up the way and helping those behind them to come with them into these higher levels. But Yeah, you are here to, you know, we talked about the 97% of our DNA that's junk. You know, these are the closed down, these are the deactivated strands of DNA. You know, talking about our switchboard analogy, these are lines that have been unplugged. And so we need to plug them back into the switchboard. And we do that. We've talked about, you know, some of the behaviors and things that we can do to help enable that. But it does help, I think, if you have a clear picture of what it is. And it is, you know, you reactivate strand 4. You from once you've managed to reactivate strand 4, and I talked about frequencies, I think it was in the last one or maybe the one before. I talked about how each dimensional level, because each strand of DNA, this is important to understand this, each strand of DNA, when it reactivates, it enables you to regain a dimensional level of consciousness. So when you reactivate strand 5, you are plugged back into fifth dimensional consciousness, and then sixth dimensional consciousness, and then seventh dimensional consciousness. And this is, I mean, it's an expanding out. We tend to talk of it and look at dimensionality as a ladder. And it's, you know, it's easy for us to talk about it that way. But the reality is it's an expansion out and out and out into ever broader fields. And you take with you, you keep with you everything from the center out. So, you know, at the sixth dimensional level, you can still move your consciousness back into the third and fourth dimensions and things like this. So, you know, as you become better at working with it, you can hold a sixth dimensional level of understanding and perception, but you can also get it from a third dimensional level. And that, I think, is what really helps to bring the compassion and understanding for what others are going through, rather than saying, oh, look at them down there, they, you know, they're left behind, they need to get their act together, etc. It's kind of like, no, this is hard, what can I do to help?
I love that.
And you can, I mean, you are still residing in these levels. So, I mean, when you become a 12th dimensional being, I had an experience of this in a meditation the other night where I could feel my body stretched over every single level. You know, I was aware that the very top level of your consciousness is called the avatar level. I was aware of my avatar self, but all the aspects sort of down into it, and it's like huge, you're huge within this huge light body, but you're aware of the different levels of yourself within that, and the different levels of your perception and understanding of the fields around you within that. And it's an amazing experience. But that's what you know, we'll all get back to inhabiting as a matter of course. Not, I mean, not just, you know, a few seconds in a meditation. You know, that's kind of like a carrot dangled in front of you, isn't it?
It's expansive just to hear you say it, you know, however that lands in terms of my understanding of it, it feels like an expansive possibility.
Yeah.
So, you know, thank you for sharing your you know, your unique insight into what that felt like, because it's almost like we can't imagine something until we're told it, and then it's almost like we hear the words and then something within us goes to that place and says,
Yeah.
there's a possibility there.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, something about nobody could run a mile in a certain amount of time until somebody did it, and then everybody could.
Yeah, absolutely. It opens up that reality field back into the mass consciousness where it's been closed down effectively. So yes, and again, this is, as I say, at the starseed level, the starseeds are opening up these doorways again and letting the breeze flow through and clear out some of the rubbish that's accumulated, so that the mass consciousness field can begin to say, oh yeah, I can see where we can go now.
It might be really fun actually to invite people to share any stories they've got in the comments of how expansion feels to them. I do get these moments sometimes where, you know, I almost feel like I've gone beyond the veil of something, you know, like, you know, if I'm working with flower essences or something, I can get my information from the plant kingdom from beyond the veil.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't really know what I mean by that. It's really hard to put it into words, but I find that nature is putting its hand up and saying, create an essence with me, or,
Yeah.
this is what I have to say to you. Here's my wisdom to you today. And I think, where's that
Well,
coming?
this is where the barrier between you and nature is breaking down, and you're being able to consciously connect your consciousness into the consciousness of a flower or a plant or something like that, and effectively communicate with it. Now, it may not be sentence by sentence. I mean, I tend to find it comes as I see it as flowerings. It's like a bud bursting into bloom. All of a sudden, the knowing is there.
It's that, isn't it? It's just like,
Yeah,
where did that come from? Where, and it's almost like when you try to reason with it, it's almost like you lose it slightly.
yeah, absolutely. The moment this kicks in,
That's it.
it's gone. I found this when I first started gardening,
Mhm.
um, particularly with herbs, because I have worked with herbs a huge amount in past lives and things like this. But I would look at a plant, and part of me would idly wonder, oh, I wonder what that is. And the name would come to me, and I
Oh,
could say the name out loud. And then the moment I thought, how did I know that? Where did that come from? It all closed down again, you know. So I learned to get out my way on that one.
well, for me, I mean, this for me that we're talking about now is the trust
Yeah,
piece. It's like the trusting of the becoming,
yeah,
and and also it's kind of like one and the same, but the trusting of the returning.
yes,
Because
yeah,
there's both ways, isn't there? There's a
it is. Yeah,
remembrance, but there's also an expansion
yeah,
into.
yeah,
And whichever way it comes, I mean, as you were talking about your connection with nature, I was thinking, yeah, and some people connect with animals. You get animal communication.
absolutely, yeah.
You get sort of, I guess it's like same like psychics or seers. There's just a knowing, and I think that as humans now, as women, I don't speak to the woman energy because that's what we are. But for everybody, it's about how can I learn increasingly to trust that thing without making it wrong because I can't wrap logic around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we've been taught that inner knowing, that intuition, that what that flow of energy, whatever you might want to call it, we've been taught to distrust it. We've been taught it's not right. It has to come from our brain. So that's keeping us in our mental body,
Yeah.
not moving us into our more expanded levels of consciousness. And again, it's a prison,
Yes.
a way of keeping us small. Yeah.
Yes.
So, it's through, as you say, through that trusting, through that listening, it's subtle. It won't yammer at you and ring great bells at you. It's subtle. You have to listen, you have to still, you have to feel into it. But this is how little by little you'll begin to work and reactivate strand by strand. And as you move, it will become dare I say it, it will become easier as you manage to reactivate more strands, just because you have a better sense of what you're doing. And you will be, you'll be much more in trust and in flow with yourself and with the world around you. And provided you can keep yourself in that state, in that flow of energy, then things will, blossom and flower and open. Much more easily. Now, life isn't like that. Comes along and somebody starts yelling World War III at you, and bombs dropping and stuff like that. You go, you know oh, what's happened? And it pulls you out. But that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to pull you out. All of these flipping dramas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's the thing, isn't it? The realization that so here's something that always happens for me. If I start getting into my flow, or I start thinking, oh, there's a book coming, or there's a program coming, or there's an idea, and I think, right, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to really lock in, and I'm going to get this out. I find on a micro level, I'll have a blazing row with my husband, or my kids will kick off, or the dog will go lame, or something will happen, and it happened with such regularity to begin with that it took a while before I was like, hang on a minute, I'm on to you. Every
Yeah,
time I go to step towards the truth, stuff fires off. And the minute I became conscious of that, so I just think it's really important to highlight this,
yeah.
Sarah.
It
I,
is sabotage. Yeah,
yeah. It's sabotage on a level that is not your husband. It's
yeah,
not
yeah. It's
it's all
coming.
that, but it's showing itself as your husband or your kids
Yeah,
or your job
absolutely.
because that's how it hooks you.
Yeah, yeah, you know, they the dark forces, whatever you want to call them, beings of less than benign intent, they don't want your light to shine at any level. At
I
any level.
love that. I love that we're inviting people to consciously recognize that when stuff kicks off, that's probably why. So
Yeah,
I would encourage people to maybe see if there's a pattern of
yeah,
that going on.
yeah,
Because one of the things I was going to say to you is talking about, this subtle, powerful reactivation. It's like I wanted to say to you, is it worth saying here that sometimes we just need to almost put a cloche over that?
yeah,
Like a little greenhouse over that and
yeah,
protect it while we incubate and grow it
yeah,
so that we can then become increasingly more robust when we go out into the world,
yeah.
into our families, into our communities.
And it is also, you know, keeping our focus on what's important. Yes, the dog needs to go to the vets. Yes, the kids need attention or need something. So, okay, but you come back.
That's it.
There's the focus. So, yeah, you know, these things need to be dealt with in the 3D world.
Yep.
But then you come back, and that is building a backbone in you. Until you have a backbone of steel, that it doesn't matter what they throw at you, you know, it doesn't throw you off track. And this is part of the training in some ways. This is where we can say, thank you, dark forces, because actually you're helping me grow stronger and stronger and stronger.
That's beautiful, Sarah. I really love that. I see that time and time again in my own life, in my own work. And it's the point where if we don't know this, it puts us into fear and shame. We go, oh,
Yeah,
look at that. I selfishly turn myself to the things that
yeah,
I know need doing or that I enjoy. And my poor dog got sick or my
yeah,
poor husband felt neglected. It's like, no.
yeah,
No, that is not what's working through here, and that's not what's really happening. It's about coming back to, and now I'm back again.
yeah,
Really so important, really
yeah.
important. Thank
Yeah, and just you know, understanding that this is I mean, my grandmother would say it was building character or something like that, you know, but it's building, rebuilding within you at an energetic level, something that has been knocked out of alignment. It's bringing you bit by bit, it's building you back into alignment with yourself. And
you.
it takes intent, it takes determination, it takes focus, but that's what we're here, that's what we're here to reclaim.
This is so important. It's such an air of passion to me as well. I remember, being back against it, and in the end, it becoming so laughable that I just looked up to the heaven and said, "Come on, then, universe, you hit like a girl." It's like, oh,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think particularly those you know, they really uh, have maybe dumped quite a big mission on, and they will batter you and batter you and batter. Can you take this? Are you strong enough for this? Can you stand against the forces that you will have to stand up against? Because you're no good to anybody if you just go, oh, I can't do it, oh, this is just too hard, or and we've all had moments like that. We all go and sit on the pity pot for a little while, but then you have to get yourself back up, get back on your horse,
I love it.
and
Sarah, it's
yeah,
like a rallying cry.
yeah, absolutely.
First rallying cry about nature I heard was the Dalai Lama. Do you remember that in his 2009 peace conference, said the world will be saved by the Western woman, and
Yeah,
there
it's
was
the
something
Western woman who
about
will save
that.
the world. Yeah, yeah. And that was kind of like, oh, because I mean, as a woman, we know we're second class citizens. We know we're this. We know I mean, we've been just beaten down and beaten down. Then to hear someone like the Dalai Lama say that, I was like, oh my goodness, it was a wake up moment, wasn't it?
Absolutely. So thank you today for your rallying cry and a reminder for us to step into that calling, if you like, of reactivating our 12-strand DNA. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Wendy. I couldn't do this without you because you help to pull stuff out of me that might otherwise come out incoherent, shall we say. I have a lot of information in there. It doesn't always flow out as well as it should. So I really appreciate these chats, and I hope all of you watch do as well. And yeah, you know, any comments or any requests below. But in the meantime, thank you once more to Wendy, and thank you to all of you for listening. Thank you.